Now, in the scientific community, we look for correlations. Well, in the past 30 years, gun ownership has increased while gun crimes have decreased. From 1993 to 2015, Americans have acquired well over 170 million new firearms, and violent crimes have declined by 51%. By the way, if you need proof and citations, all the information you will need will be in the description box. So again, when the amount of guns almost doubled, the amount of violent crime got more than cut in half. So boom, right there. There's absolutely no correlation that gun ownership equates to more crime. So, end of discussion. You could turn off the video now. But I imagine that won't work. We need more than damning evidence to convince you. Now, in a couple seconds, I'm going to share with you how many guns are in America. The number is staggering. Then I want you to tell me how many gun murders you think occur every single day in America, considering the amount of guns that exist. Okay, are you ready to learn how many guns are in America? As you know, there is no gun registry in America, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint how many guns are in the United States. But according to the NICS reports, there was at least 250 million as of 1996. Now, some gun wholesalers report their numbers to the ATF. Just some, not most, but some. And with that very few that do report it, we know for sure in the last 15 years, we sold 250 million guns. So at the very least, there's 500 million unregistered guns in the United States of America. Now, most mainstream media sources will say 360 million, but they're using that extremely old NICS data, which doesn't include the amount of guns that have been purchased in the last 20 years. No matter which way you look at it, there's enough unregistered guns in America for every man, woman, and child. To give you some sort of perspective, if 1% of the 500 million guns that exist in America were used for murder every day, that's 5 million murders every single day. Let's say we already take that 1%, which is a low number, and do a fraction of that. That's 2 million gun murders every single day. Let's do a fraction of 1%. That's 500,000 gun murders every single day. Let's do a fraction of 1%. That's 100,000 gun murders every single day. Now, was that your guess? 100,000 gun murders a day, which is a fraction of 1% of the guns that exist today in America. Tell me how many gun murders you think happen every single day in America. And I better not be hearing any low number out of you gun grabbers, because you guys claim that more guns equal more gun murder. Well, if that's the case, the situation in America couldn't be worse, because there's 500 million unregistered guns. If what you say is true, and more guns equal more gun murder, then at the very least, there would be hundreds of thousands of gun murders every single day in America. So the question is this: how many murders caused by guns do you think occur every single day in America? I'll give you 5 seconds. Go on, say it. So, what was your guess? Present it right now. Go on, don't cheat, present it right now. Now, when you're talking gun statistics, you're going to hear a lot of BS, so I'm going to teach you how to fight it right now. Now, dishonest people are always going to tell you all the gun deaths, right? Every single one of them in the year. So they're going to be like, there's 30,000 gun deaths a year, and they're going to try to pretend that those are all gun murder. That's not true. Every gun death isn't a person murdering another person. Remember, there's 30,000 gun deaths a year, but the thing is, 20,000 of those 30,000 are freaking suicides. So you get rid of the suicides, what are you left with? Around 11,000 homicides a year. See, we just started and we already removed 20,000 disingenuous gun murders. Freaking incredible. Now, every time somebody sees the 11,000 gun homicides a year, they think, that's a lot of gun murder a year. That's not gun murder. That's homicides. Homicides in the United States of America isn't gun murder. Okay, in other countries it is, but not in the United States of America. In the United States of America, gun homicides include self-defense killings, which is good guys killing bad guys. So, out of that 11,000 gun homicides a year, 70% of it or so is good guys killing bad guys, and it's not gun murder at all. So what does this all break down to in a day? Okay, well, that's what we're here to answer, right? So, okay, it's about 29 gun homicides a day. And you're going to have to remove all the, good guys killing bad guys. You do that and you got the real gun murders, okay? So let's just say 19 of those are freaking good guys killing bad guys. Or in other words, justifiable self-defense killings. So there's around 10 gun murders a day. So that's your answer, 10 gun murders a day. So the mainstream media will pretend there's 30,000 gun murders a year when there's really like 3,650. Pretty disingenuous, huh? It's laughable. Now pause the video for a second and go to the comments section and write down how many gun murders you thought occurred every single day in America. And please do that now because it's very important. It's very important that people see what other people thought. Now, when you read the comments, you're going to notice that a lot of them are really, really low. And the reason why is because most people that watch my videos are conservative types and they already know that gun murder isn't very common. But it's important for everybody to write it down because occasionally you'll get that left-winger that admits, hey, I thought there was thousands of gun murders a day. And it's important for people to know how brainwashed the mainstream media has made us over the years. Okay, so there's 10 murders with guns every single day. Let's compare that to smoking. Smoking, there's 1,315 smoking-related deaths every single day in America. 10 deaths a day versus 1,300. Don't get me wrong, neither should be illegal because of freedom. But I find it hilarious that they think that preserving the right to smoke is more important than preserving the right to freaking bear arms. Bearing arms saves up to 800,000 to 2 million lives yearly, according to the government and the FBI themselves. Smoking kills 1,300 people a day. We got to keep that right because of freedom. But the right that saves up to 5,479 people daily is the right that we need to get rid of. Bias much? They're not banning guns based off statistics. They're banning guns based off of feels. What it comes down to is guns look scary, and they don't like scary-looking things. That's what it comes down to. And it also has to do with people just wanting to control other people's lives. I personally believe people should be able to do whatever they want as long as they don't harm another. But unfortunately, most people don't feel this way this day and age. They think guns were designed to murder people. No, guns were designed to freaking self-defend. The vast majority of the time when guns are used, nobody dies. It in fact saves lives. It's not designed to murder, it's designed to prevent murder. They weren't designed to kill somebody, they were designed to point at somebody and threaten to kill them if they threaten to kill you. Which makes killing you inconvenient and it's supposed to ward people off. That's what it was designed for. It was designed to prevent murder, not cause it. And that's what the majority of the use of it is for. That's majority of the time it's used for. You never hear about it in the news because it's so common, but it happens every single day in America. You unfortunately just hear the bad side of it because that's all the mainstream media seems to want to cover. That's what makes the ratings, right? That's what makes the money. If something is literally designed for self-defense, don't say it's designed for murder. That's a lie. It's a damn lie. It's literally the opposite of the truth. And that's pretty much it. And if you really wanted to save lives, you would have people keep their guns so they could defend themselves against criminals and also the biggest killer on this planet. Government collectively has killed over 200 million people in acts of democide. That's when the government decides to mass murder its own people. And no, that does not include war. So if you really wanted to save lives, you would tell your fellow citizens to arm up, not to disarm. Because the government has killed more people than individual murderers have ever. you'll still hear people say, well, 29 gun homicides a day, which includes self-defense, so like 10 gun murders a day, is still too many. Look, expecting less than 10 murders a day in a society with 320 million people is freaking ridiculous. Expecting less means you expect 0 murders in your society. Aiming for the lowest number is obviously a great idea, but if you're going to start throwing away our most basic freedoms for the pursuit of something completely unrealistic as 0 murders a day, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to stop you right there. Let me get this out of the way right now. No gun laws work. Okay, for argument's sake, I'm going to let left-wingers have everything that they could possibly want to the extreme and watch it not make a damn difference in the end. Okay, instead of a 30-round magazine ban, let's just say magazines could only hold 1 bullet. 1 bullet, and it's not even a big bullet. Let's say it's a 22 LR, which is one of the very smallest bullets you could possibly get. That's all the guns could shoot. They could shoot 1 of those, and then they got to reload a magazine. And let's say there's some California laws going on and it doesn't even have a pistol grip and you have to hold it a weird way, so there's no way to really use the gun at all. It's actually, in fact, dangerous to use, like Cali guns. Let's say instead of a 0-day wait, we have a year wait. Instead of the really strict background tests that we have today, that deny you over, doing drugs or a misdemeanor, let's say that you take 15 background tests to get a gun. No, 30. And if you get a cold, you can't get a gun, okay? So as far as mental illness bans, let's say they ban guns from people that have bipolar, mood swings. Hell, depression. Oh, and not only that, we're going to put a cap on how many guns you could own. You could just own 1. Let's take it a step further. Let's just say we do the assault weapons ban. We ban AR-15s, AK-47s, hell, even shotguns. Why not? Now the bad guys definitely can't hurt you, right? Wrong. Now, the only people who can't get guns now are law-abiding citizens, because the criminals will still get guns off the black market. They could still get 30-round AK-47s. Hell, I think there's drums that are 100-round, right? Or 120 rounds. They could get AK-47s, AR-15s with 120-round magazines, while civilians are stuck with a 1-round pistol. If they are lucky enough to even get it. They have a year wait. And if they ever had depression or bipolar, they can't get the freaking damn gun. My point here is that criminals don't follow laws. If you change the laws, the criminals won't obey them. You're only affecting the good guys. Laws only affect good guys. You're taking away guns from law-abiding citizens and literally giving them to the criminals. I don't know if that sounds like a good idea to me. Disarming all the good guys and arming all the bad guys and criminals sounds like a terrible idea to me. I just find it freaking hilarious to me that people actually believe that criminals are going to go buy their guns legally and go through all the red tape and risk being denied. Do you think they're really going to wait 3 days? Do you really think they're going to let the gun be linked to them? Do you really think they're going to allow you to limit them to 10 rounds? Do you think they're going to buy the anemic guns that you put in gun stores? Or do you think they're going to buy the nice guns like AK-47s and AR-15s that are available in the black market with 30, 100-round magazines? And I know what you're thinking. Well, some criminals prefer to buy it legally. So let me get this straight. You actually believe that they're going to be like, oh, I got denied. Guess I can't be a murderer now. And now I got to be a law-abiding citizen. I mean, I'm willing to commit murder, but disobeying a gun law and buying one illegally, that's where I draw the line. Yeah, I really doubt that's going to happen. If they get denied, they're going straight to the black market. Guys, there is a reason why in the United States of America, the states with the most gun restrictions have the most gun deaths. For example, Detroit. And there is a reason why the states with the least gun restrictions have the least gun deaths. So some overpaid politician writing on some fancy paper with some fancy ink from a fancy pen isn't going to save any lives at all. All gun laws do is hurt law-abiding citizens in the hopes that the criminals will obey those laws. It's ridiculous. For example, like the dumbest gun law of all, gun-free zones, where you literally disarm every single person that could actually stop a terrorist attack in the hopes that the terrorist will see the gun-free zone sign and think to himself, oh, I was just going to commit mass freaking murder But disobeying this gun-free zone sign is where I draw the line. And they actually believe he'll just turn around and go home. Yes, they literally disarm every single person in the United States of America that can prevent these crimes in the hopes that the criminal will just obey the law. I'm just going to say it. It's retarded. It's the most retarded thing I have ever heard in my entire life. I am 100% sure if we got rid of that law, the crime rate would drop even further. And I mean a lot further. Like 10 gun murders a day right now, let's talk about 2. And don't forget that most of the gun murders that you see today are from gang wars. If you wanted to save lives, you wouldn't get rid of guns, which already do that job. You would actually end the freaking drug war, because the drug war kills more people than drugs itself. Prohibition on drugs is what causes most of the murders that you see today in America. But what's your solution? Oh, let's do a prohibition on guns and see how that works out. Freaking stupid. Prohibition on alcohol created the mafia. Prohibition on drugs created the drug cartels. Now imagine what kind of criminal underground a prohibition on guns would create. I'm not willing to find out. So again, gun laws will only affect the good guys. All you will do is restrict or remove guns from good guys while bad guys continue to get guns illegally. So gun laws are not a solution to prevent murder. Removing gun restrictions and gun-free zones, however, is a real solution. The only thing that's going to protect you is having the means to protect yourself. And that's the only thing that's going to do it. You may be saying, well, I don't need to arm myself. Cops protect me. The safety given by cops is mostly an illusion. They can only help you if they're already there. Remember, it takes between 15 to 20 minutes for a cop to show up and save you. It takes freaking like 2 minutes to murder somebody. So again, the sad reality is this. Gun laws don't do much. If criminals decide to not obey the law, you're screwed if you don't defend yourself. And cops don't do much either because they're going to be too late. The best they'll do is outline your body in chalk. There's no way around taking personal responsibility in the protection of your own life. Relying on cops that are far away and scribbles on pieces of paper that criminals don't obey anyways is foolish. Some people actually believe that if they get rid of guns, murder will actually go down. People think the criminals will be like, oh, there's no more guns. I guess there's no way to kill people. And they would just not kill anymore. And they would live the rest of their lives as a law-abiding citizen. Look, if you got rid of guns, instead of using guns, people would use their hands. A hammer, a knife, poison, a bomb, and the hundreds of thousands of other ways to kill people. They won't just give up killing because you took away one of the hundreds of thousands of ways to kill people away. Guns being gone doesn't make murder go away. I mean, you people do realize murder existed before guns, right? If Mary Sue cheats on Joe and Joe gets angry and decides to kill Mary Sue with the freaking knife, do you go and ban the knife? No, because next time the murderer just will use a hammer or something else. Blame the killer. Blame the motive. Blame the fact that the victim didn't have the means to protect themselves. But don't freaking blame the interchangeable tool. Blaming the tool is the most ineffective thing you could possibly do. Well, with a gun, you could kill like 20 people. In China, there was a knife attack that killed 33 people and injured 143 people. On 9/11, box cutters were used to kill 3,000 people. 3,000! So yeah, there's other ways to kill people other than using a gun, and it's not even the most effective tool. And which tool you use doesn't really make that much of a difference. People actually believe if guns exist in society, there would be more murder. Like, one way or another, guns are making normal people into killers. I mean, how would that even work? Do you think like the guns possess the minds of its victims, turning a regular Joe into a killer? If guns are making society more violent, that's the only way that would happen. Also, how can guns result in more violence when freaking guns are a deterrent from doing violence? I don't know, getting shot is a freaking deterrent for murdering, stealing, raping, and just being a bad guy in general. Matter of fact, no matter how hard I try, I can't think of a better deterrent. I don't know how in your head you think hundreds of millions of good guys owning guns is going to make bad guys want to commit more crime. Someone might say, well, so-and-so country with 0 guns has less gun deaths than America. You know, the country that has almost 500 million guns. Yeah, of course they have less gun deaths, and the country doesn't have any damn guns. But it doesn't mean it's safer. Believe it or not, gun murders are not the only type of murder that exists. And it's definitely not the only type of murder that kills people. If you want to see if guns make a country less safe, you need to compare all murders between country, not just gun murders. If you want to see if society becomes less safe once guns are introduced inside of it, you need to compare all murders with all murders. But here's what gun grabbers always do. They always compare a country with freaking 0 guns with America that has 500 million unregistered guns, and they don't compare all murders with all murders. No. They compare gun murders with gun murders, right? And of course, they're going to win that. They don't have guns in that country. But the reality is, gun murders aren't the only freaking murders that make you unsafe. If you're comparing a society to see if the society becomes more unsafe with guns, you need to count all deaths, not just gun murders. All murders make you unsafe, not just gun murders. Now, if you compare any type of murder with any type of murder, you will quickly see that America is just as safe, if not safer, even with its 500 million unregistered guns. The guns don't make the country less safe. And one thing people love to do is do shit like this, where they'll compare homicides with the UK and the United States, or do something similar, right? Where the United States homicides include self-defense killings and the UK's do not. So all good cases of good guys killing bad guys count against the United States and make the United States look bad when it should look good. And it actually works against the United States, making it look more violent than it is. It's comparing freaking 2 completely different statistics. But yeah, you're going to see gun grabbers do that all the time. They're going to compare 2 completely different statistics and compare them to make America look bad. And this isn't something that like, oh, just the bad gun grabbers do this. No, all the mainstream media does this. Every single one of them. And you also want to compare a country with similar size. Idiots keep telling me, well, Germany has guns and they have a fraction of the amount of deaths. It's like, no, duh. Germany has 80 million people. America has 360 million. It's like, of course they have a fraction of amount of gun deaths because they have a fraction of the amount of people. Now, if you actually know of all the statistics, you will quickly see that gun grabbers can only win a freaking gun debate through trickery. So yeah, if you don't know all their little tricks, you might lose the gun argument. But that's the only way they could win, through trickery and deceit, not through honesty. They are completely wrong in this debate. You'll see that America is pretty damn safe, even with its 500 million unregistered guns. Look at Switzerland. Its citizens have the most guns on planet Earth, and they also have the least amount of crime and murder on the planet. Yes, you heard right. The country with the most guns on Earth is one of the safest. Now check out this following clip.
Is a heart. This is just a reminder that love wins. Now, unfortunately, it's only an illusion because while love should guide us in all of our decisions, love doesn't stop a bullet, radically reform gun legislation, or save the lives of the 93 Americans that will be killed today by a gun.
You see that the left-wing mainstream media will always use misleading stats to manipulate your feelings. You got to be careful for that. So as you heard in the video, they said 93 people die by gun violence every single day in America. When you say gun violence, in everybody's head, they think a person aggressing on another person using a gun. But that's not what they're talking about here. They're being misleading. To them, every single gun death is death by gun violence. A good guy killing a bad guy, that's a death by gun violence. A guy committing suicide, that's a death by gun violence. Okay, so I went to the website that they directed us to, and these are the citations broken down. Now you can see that not just some of these are freaking good guys killing bad guys, and some of these are suicides. Most of them are. Okay, look at that. Only 32 out of the 93 are actual murders. Wait a second, those aren't murders. Those are homicides. Why the hell are they calling those freaking murders? The majority of that is self-defense killings. Why are they calling that murders? Oh yeah, to be dishonest. Oh, look at this. 58 out of the 93, quote, death by gun violence, unquote, is freaking suicides. Again, 58 out of 93. That's the vast majority is suicides. But they're trying to make it seem like murder. There is freaking layers of dishonesty here, like a freaking lasagna. They literally made 10 gun murders a day look like 93. What the hell? And the funny part is, all mainstream media is this dishonest. I shit you not. And they'll use these lies and demand gun control. Now let's talk about mass shootings for a second. What if I told you the mainstream media tries to say that there's 355 mass shootings a year? Are you stupid enough to fall for it? Most of your fellow Americans are.
Have you not heard there were 355 mass shootings in the U.S. this year?
355? That's ludicrous. Who would believe that?
Well, NPR, PBS, HuffPo, Vox, Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, and CBS believe it. Where did they get this information? From Reddit, so you know it's trustworthy. The info came from a subreddit which was turned into a website called MassShootingTracker.org. Take a look at these terrible shootings. Oh, and almost half of them, not a single person died. It's almost like they weren't actually mass shootings. Wow, it looks like America has the safest mass shootings in the world.
Now, I got a question for you. Are you ready? Now, out of all the deaths that occur in America, that includes dying from disease, car crashes, what percentage do you think is caused by murder? Are you going high and saying like 50%? Or are you going to go low and say like 40% of deaths are from murder? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about it. Within that 5 seconds, tell me your answer. Okay, what's your answer? That's interesting. The actual truth is 0.6%. So remember, there's between 360 to 500 million guns in the United States of America, which is a hell of a lot more guns than people. Out of all the deaths that occur, only 0.6 are from murder. Not 30%, 0.6. And those aren't even all from guns. That could be from anything. That could be from baseball bats, hammers, fists, whatever. Now, out of that 0.6% of murders, what do you think are from mass shootings? I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. What's your answer? Okay, well, the truth is 0.2. Please take a look at this graph and let that sink in. The world thinks America is freaking unsafe because of guns. We're just running around killing each other with guns. Again, out of all deaths, any type of death you could think of, right? Drowning, burning alive, whatever it is, only 0.6% of all deaths is from murder. And that's not even all from guns. That could be from knives, bats, hammers, whatever. That percentage is extremely low, even if it was all guns, but it's not. It's anything. It's any type of murder. On top of that, out of that 0.6%, only 0.2% is from mass shootings. Yeah, we're not the nation that goes around shooting up schools and killing each other with guns like everybody thinks we are. We're in fact extremely, unbelievably safe.
But the gun lobby mobilized against it, and the Senate blocked it. Since then, tens of thousands of our fellow Americans have been mowed down by gun violence. Tens of thousands.
Now, what he's talking about is the fact that there's 30,000 gun deaths a year. What he doesn't tell you is that 20,000 out of that 30,000 is suicides. And the ones that remain are good guys killing bad guys, and the rest are all types of gun murders. Not just freaking mass shootings. But what did he do? He took all three things, the suicides, good guys killing bad guys, and all gun murders, and tried to say they're all mass shootings. To push his gun control, to push his assault weapons ban, which would have banned 90% of all guns. because it gets rid of pretty much every semi-auto there is. So don't think people won't lie to you. Even the President of the United States will lie to you to push their gun control. Last time I checked, suicide is a real funny way of getting mowed down by a hail of bullets, like he was saying. Yeah, he's being completely misleading. He should have been impeached right there. Now, the following subject is scary for a lot of people because people think freaking movies are real life. And that subject is guns and mental health. Now, I'm about to say a lot of statistics. If you don't believe me on anything I'm saying, check the citations in the description box. Matter of fact, I love citations for everything I've stated in this video so far. Now, this information I'm about to talk about comes from mentalhealth.gov. The vast majority of people with mental health problems are no more likely to be violent than anyone else. Did you hear that? They are no more likely to be more violent than anyone else. Most people with mental illness are not violent, and only 3 to 5% of violent acts can be attributed to individuals living with a serious mental illness. In fact, people with severe mental illness are over 10 times more likely to be the victim of a violent crime than the general population. You probably know someone with a mental health problem and don't even realize it, because many people with mental health problems are highly active and productive members of our communities. Okay, so did you hear that? They are not more likely to commit violent crime at all. So why the hell should we strip away their gun rights? Because mental illness is a scary word? That's seriously the main reason why most want to do it. And also because most get their education of mental illness from horror movies. I mean, please, if you're going to enact law, please get your information from a source that's a little bit more nuanced. I'll tell you one of the main reasons why left-wingers want to go after mental illness. It's so they could create a ban list. And so they can keep adding mental illnesses to that ban list until practically nobody has freaking guns anymore. It's backdoor gun control. Think about it this way. People with bipolar, mood swings, will automatically lose their gun rights. You know that will happen. And I actually know of 2 good cops that have bipolar. Should they lose their freaking gun rights and lose their job? No! If they have never committed violent acts ever in their life and shown that they are not a violent person, why should they lose rights? And you know damn well depression will eventually make its way onto that list. And pretty much everybody falls under that umbrella one point in their life or another. I find it funny that the people that say, oh, well, you can't discriminate against blacks, Muslims, and cops, and just assume that they're all violent, but they have no problem doing that to the mentally ill, who are statistically not more violent. Blacks commit 5.5 times more violent crimes than all the other races. If you're going to discriminate against mentally ill and strip away their rights when they're not more violent, then I guess you definitely have to strip away the rights of blacks and Muslims who have proven that they are more violent, right? If you left-wingers are able to discriminate against the mentally ill who are not more violent at all, if you win that battle, then you're just handing over that power to the racists who want to discriminate against blacks, whom actually are statistically more violent. You're also allowing people to discriminate against religions like Muslims as well. I'm just letting you know right now, that shit goes 2 ways. We already take away rights from people who commit felonies, like drug felonies, which is stupid in my opinion. We take away guns away from people that have freaking misdemeanors. It couldn't be more strict. If you ever had suicidal thoughts, you lose your gun rights. If you ever thought about hurting someone ever in your life and you told it to a doctor, you lose your gun rights. That shit is enough. But to you, it's not. Now you want to take away gun rights from people that have never had a violent thought, who have never done anything violent. And on top of that, you do the worst thing ever and you actually discriminate against a certain group of people. The mentally ill, the people that are not more violent. Discrimination is wrong, even if you're right and those set of people are more violent. But these people aren't even that, and you still discriminate against them. What the hell? If they have no history of violence, and they have a healthy brain in the fact that they don't want to hurt themselves or other people, why should they lose any rights at all? People actually believe that there's some mental illnesses that are dangerous, that cause you to kill people. There is no mental illness that will make you kill somebody. Either you value human life or you don't. It has nothing to do with mental illness at all. Remember, only 3 to 5% of all crimes are committed by the mentally ill. Whereas with the mentally healthy, they commit 95 to 98% of all violent crime. Discrimination is wrong, but if you're going to discriminate, shouldn't you go after the people that commit the most crime? So why go after the mentally ill? Why go after the people that commit 3% of crime? Go after the people that commit 98%. Go after the mentally healthy. But no, discriminate against no one. I'll give you an example of how discrimination works. Okay, imagine you're in a classroom of 30 people, and one of the people in the classroom is a thief. According to you, the whole classroom should be labeled a thief now. And not only just the criminal should serve time and lose their rights, but the whole classroom should lose their rights. That's discrimination in a nutshell. Well, in this scenario, it's like going into a classroom and saying, oh, well, you're all violent, even though you're statistically not more violent than us, but this whole classroom's violent just because you're different than us, and different scares us. Don't get me wrong, all discrimination's terrible, but that's the worst discrimination. Alright, boys, girls, and those who sexually identify as Walmart toasters. If you like this video, remember to smash that share, like, and subscribe button. Also, remember to check out my playlist, The Best of Mr. Dapperton. There you will find the best episodes of me, Mr. Dapperton. I got like months worth of content for you to watch. I mean, it will literally take you months to watch it all. So definitely check it out. It's all great stuff. All right, catch you on the flip side.